Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Proptech Leaders Insights interview. Today, we have a great speaker. He's Mr. Simon Brunke, co-founder and co-CEO of Exporo. Exporo is the leading equity crowdfunding platform for real estate investments in Germany. We will have time to go into the details of Exporo, so I'm gonna wait until we have Simon speaking and telling us more about Exporo. Let me first introduce you to this series and the people that are following. So as you may know, Simon, the ESCP is a business school that we have 6 campuses across Europe. It's in London, Paris, Madrid, Berlin, and Turin, and another one, a smaller one in Warsaw, in Poland. So we have about 110 students in real estate that come to ESCP only to study real estate, of which 35 belong to the master in real estate, where we teach about 45 hours of Proptech. I'm saying this because your company is very Proptech, it's very real estate oriented, and this is going to be part of our audience. We also do some streaming and sharing social media with all ESCP community and followers. So we're going to stream live, share that afterwards. So this is, keep that in mind. This is your audience, a lot of young people with trying to get some inspiration, role models, and success stories. And so this type of interview is going to be a short, very interesting interview with you, Simon. And I would like to go backwards to your maybe initial studies. We learned that you were living in Bolivia and also for a year in South Africa. And I'm really wondering how was like those experiences like shape your path, your vision for a person like you became today.
Yeah, Jaime, maybe thanks first for inviting me. As I said earlier, I really love to talk about entrepreneurship, PropTech, FinTech, founding companies, and also motivating people to follow the path of founding companies and to do good thing in a very digital way in the future in Europe. So I'm really happy to be here. But I mean, coming back to your question, I learned a lot going abroad, and I think the main takeaways are being thankful for what we have, especially in Europe, because if you travel to South America, to Africa, you really see huge differences. And that's not, you should never take anything for granted. So be thankful, be grateful, and see the opportunities actually that we have, especially in Europe, and try to do good things and not just making money, but maybe to change things, to give back later when you earn some money. And I think that is the most lesson I learned. But also, obviously, it's broaden your mindset. You get new experience. You're learning stuff from other people. Like in South Africa, I was living for a year with an Indian family, and they actually taught me how to do management. To be honest, I never followed because they always told me, Simon, you have to work on the company, not in the company. But I'm still running in that guinea pig wheel, working in the company. But I mean, getting other ideas from other people was just mind-blowing on those trips. But I always love to get back to Africa, and I'm always grateful for what we have, and it's good to know your level, you know.
That's a great advice, and most of our students are like very international, so I'm sure they really understand your vision and share your vision. Now let's go back to 2004. This is when you founded your first company, if I'm not wrong, and I'm wondering how did you decide to create your business? Because keep in mind that it's a very important point in time in your life when you take the decision, and it's not an easy one. So we are really wondering how was that for you?
Yeah, it was a coincidence somehow. I mean, I was always earning money and buying things, selling things when I was younger. So you learn, work hard, you earn a lot. You have to give. I mean, you have to wake up early and you have to do things. But when I was studying, and I studied economics because that was the closest those times to entrepreneurship, my one friend came to me and says, hey, I know how to do insurances and you are studying management, let's found a company. And I said, okay, why not? So we just found a company, and it was when I was studying, and that was an insurance broker. So not a really nice business, maybe. It was an old offline approach selling insurances. But we just found the company, and we had 25 employees when I was ready with my university. And then we said, okay, now we scale it. So founding a company while you're studying, I mean, you have everything on the table, so just do it. And when my friend approached me, we just said, okay, yeah, we found the company, and all of a sudden you became a founder. And those days, I mean, to be honest, you didn't know about venture capital, burn rate, KPIs. We just did it and were very successful doing it.
And we will get to venture capital later once we talk more about Exporo. It's a very important part of the interview, but still in that period of your life in 2004, so you founded, you scaled the company to 600 employees, which is really amazing. And I'm wondering, like, which lessons did you learn that were useful then for the next step?
I learned a lot of lessons, definitely. I mean, first of all, you get to know all the legal stuff, all the barriers founding a company. But I mean, that's quite an easy thing by now. You can just Google it, what to do to found a company. With a lot of growth pains, I mean, growing from 50 people to 200 people, we had 18 offices throughout Germany. It became very complex. So it was a lot about communicating with the team, getting them behind the vision, why you're doing what, which is easy with 10 people, 20 people. I mean, you're all sitting in one room or in one garage, but scaling it to a couple of hundred people, that was quite difficult. I think a big learning was also because I was always dealing with all the board members from insurances throughout Europe, and there you're negotiating deals, and I was still like 23, 24, 25, negotiating with 60-year-old people wearing a tie and a suit, which is old-fashioned. But it's so important that you can talk to young people, older people, and that you don't make a difference if it's an intern or an MD. So it's really important how you talk to them, that you give promises, but that you keep promises, because it's not, I mean, time will quickly get you. And if you tell them, no, I will do this in 2 years, and you just do 10%, they will never talk to you again. So you're losing your reputation. And I think that is something that is one of my biggest takeaways from that time. Under promise and over deliver, but don't make too much promises and never get there, because then you ruin your reputation, which is very bad. Because, I mean, we have 50, 40 years to work and to do networking. So don't think only for the next 2 years. Yeah.
I mean, two great insights. Being able to talk to both young and older people, very important one, and reputation. So I appreciate that. Now let's move to year 2013. This is the year when you decided, correct me if I'm wrong, but you decided to close your company, start a new venture, which is Exporo. So I think it's an important year, lots of decisions. Can you tell us a little bit how was this transition period for you?
Yeah, I mean, that was a very intensive time, I would say. I actually sold my old company. I mean, I only had 25% in those days. I sold it in 2011 to quite a big company. And I had an agreement with them that I will take care for the next 2 years of integrating our holding into their holding. So that was a transition period of 2 years from 2011, where I was a CFO for that company, integrating into the buyer. And I mean, that's quite normal. While you're still working for a company, you have new ideas. So I was thinking about insurtech, because I was working in the insurance industry. So hey, let's make an insurance broker, digital broker. But that was not the best idea those days. And then I had a look at real estate, and then we saw those great opportunities, connect thousands of people on one platform, investing as a big investor. And that's when the idea for Exporo came up. I talked to the buyer that it's time for me to leave. The company was integrated, everything was fine. And as he knew I'm an entrepreneur, so I don't like to be employed. And I was employed for 2 years, which was like not normal for me. That was the time when I said, okay, I leave the old company, handed it over, and then we started Exporo, and that was definitely yeah, crazy year. I mean, scaling a company to 6, we've been like 700 people at the end, and then going back to 3 people, starting new.
It's really amazing. And now you co-founded Exporo with 3 other people, and I mean, this is also a very important step. Like, how do you, well, first we would like to know a little bit briefly their profiles, but how do you decide that you want to partner? Because we all know stories that might not be easy and it can be against you in the business. And so can you describe, like, I mean, at least give also maybe an advice, what is good, what is bad from your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very positive guy, so I will mainly tell you positive things. There are also always downsides. I mean, founding a company, working with people, there are a lot of downsides. But the main upsides for me were, first of all, we had a very complementary set of founders. So everybody brought in special skill sets. So I was from like sales and selling it to investors. We had a marketing guy with a real estate guy. And then we also had this Boston consulting, very structured guy. So we had a complementary skill set of founders, which was really important. And that is why we scaled so quickly, because we put the burden on different shoulders, you know. So it was not only me, we had people working for the same vision. And secondly, I really love to work in a team, and it's so much more energizing and exciting to share success. I mean, who wants to sit alone and have, hey, I have success? And it makes so much more fun sharing that and sharing all the good things what you're doing within the team. And this is what I truly believe in, that you should share things, have success together. So it's not about me, it's always about us. And that are the two things I would just like to share for when we founded Exporo, and why we had more than one founder. And I really like that model, founding companies with some more people. But maybe just a quick, the downside is, of course, you have to handle a lot of alpha people sometimes. So that is maybe the downside. So you have to communicate a lot. You have to be straight in the face, saying the truth. If things are annoying you, speak about them, put them on the table, and don't keep them with you, because then you will have a explosion one day.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Actually, it's a biblical advice that we know from like very far in the history, that we always have to communicate and don't keep things inside. I think it's also a wonderful thing that you said. Now let's go now deeper and talk about Exporo. I actually wanted you to tell us a little bit about the business model, because you are the best person to talk about Exporo, not me. So can you describe a little bit what you guys do in terms of crowdfunding? Real estate sounds really exciting. We all kind of understand what it is, but can you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, by today, we actually try not to call it crowdfunding anymore. We rather call it a digital platform for real estate investing, because crowdfunding is somehow used for founding startups, founding cinema movies, founding energy. But still, I mean, crowdfunding is a good term to use it. I mean, it's a pure platform business. So when we say crowdfunding, we connect thousands of people on the one hand, gives them information, insights on our platform into special real estate projects, and they can decide, is it a good investment, not a good investment, do I want to invest, how much money do I want to invest? And then we combine those thousands of people with different amounts of money. It can be a couple of €100, can be 100,000 euros. So they put in money into single real estate projects in Germany. And that's how we started. So when we started Exporo, we saw those millionaires, those families giving 2 million euros to a project developer, adding another 8 million from the bank and 1 million equity. Then he was building real estate, sold it, and they got like 8 to 15% interest back. So we said, okay, that's a bit unfair. That's not democratizing. This is like the rich are getting richer. So we said, let's combine a lot of people on one platform, as I said, and make it possible for them to get access to that asset class of real estate project financing. And that was our when we founded Exporo. By now we have a second product. So the evolution of Exporo is now to invest in €1 pieces into digital real estate. So what we're doing, we are buying assets like a kindergarten, a police station, residential places for 20 million, 10 million euro, like an owner. And it's 50% senior loan, and the equity is in €1 pieces on the. It's a bond structure. I'm getting maybe a bit too deep into our product now.
Oh, no, please go ahead, because we talk about this in our program, so it's really interesting. Please go ahead.
Yeah, and then people can invest €10 or €500 or 10,000 euro or even 500 euros, and they are buying actually the partial or fractional ownership of that asset. And actually we make it tradable, so they can buy it on our platform, and they can also sell it later to another buyer. So we try to make that asset class real estate liquid. But that is, I'm sure we'll deep dive into that. But this is Exporo crowdfunding, connects thousands of people into single project financing or single assets on a platform where the investor can choose where do I want to invest and where not. And thus he's creating his own digital real estate portfolio. Doesn't matter if he is having 5,000 euros or 50,000 euros or 500,000 euros, he can spread on our platform digital into real estate. And the huge advantage, I mean, it's an efficient game. We cut out the intermediate, so you don't have cost-loving sales guys sitting on your couch selling your product. We don't have real estate brokers in between. The payment process is all done digital. It's live, so it's just done digital in minutes. And this is so much more efficient than the old way of how to invest in real estate.
It comes like many interesting questions. It's a beautiful idea. Comes to my mind like what would happen in terms of default. We know that there is this seniority in the capital structure. In the waterfall, you pay first debt, and then if money remains, you pay equity. And how you guys deal with those risks and how you get all those properties. But I think this is probably a lot of maybe details. Maybe what you could tell us more is what has been the greatest challenge for you in Exporo. What was the more complicated thing you were going through?
I mean, first of all, I would say at the beginning, it was hard for us as Hanseatic people to have a burn rate. I mean, if you're a founder, you found a company and you earn money, you invest some money, that's the way you normally do business. Maybe you get a loan from the bank. But we received millions from venture capital, and they said, increase your burn rate. I mean, you have to lose money every month. That was the first challenge I had to learn. Invest money into people, into marketing, to scale the company, to make it bigger in the future. You're making losses. I mean, this is why you have venture capital for, to invest money. So increasing your burn rate, that was really a challenge because we've always been so proud. Hey, we're profitable. And they said, okay, but then you don't need our money. So that was the first learning. Then growing the company. I mean, second time I had that learning of the old company, getting from 50 people to 100 people to 150 people to nearly 200 people. That's a challenge. I mean, it's all about communication, get them behind the vision, behind the mission, what are our values. I mean, still have a teamwork. By scaling, you have to see to get great people in your team. I mean, better people than you are. I mean, they must be A players, so they must be better in banking, in real estate, and financing, and marketing, and tech, whatever. So find those people at scale was a challenge. Obviously, finding enough good assets that we want to finance, because we only put 5% of the deals that we see and that we make the due diligence on are getting on our platform. So it's a huge funnel on real estate investment opportunities to found some. And if you scale, you need to increase the funnel. So it's all about BI data on the market that you need. And then last two things, the biggest challenge now in 2020 was reputation and motivation. So we are an investment platform. We are not a saving platform with a bank account, so people can also lose money. I mean, the real estate, it's a good investment, but it's still a risk investment, and we can't change it. We reduce the risk, but we don't erase the risk at all. So then reputations of PR journalists are coming, hey, 1 out of 200 projects is bankrupt. So we say, yes, but still we did a good job. But they just focus on that one project that is going bankrupt. So we had to fight for reputation, and then motivation, especially while we're having Corona, having 180 people working from home, and then you have a negative article, and then the partner might be losing the job, the kids are at home. So I mean, people are having so much things in their mind, and then to motivate the team digital, it's a huge challenge for all companies, I would say, but also for us.
Wow, it sounds like really going on, and that you went through. Now, one of the thing that is really interesting for everybody is like, how do you do the financing? I mean, you have the great idea, you want to raise money, or maybe you already raised some money and then you go for more. But how you do that? I mean, you have been successful. We know from your previous professional background. And can you tell us like how you go there, how you confront the situation?
Yeah, I mean, when we started Exporo, we put the money out of our own pocket. So we were investing own capital for marketing, for tech, for the first 2 employees, and then we had a track record. And I think you have to invest some money on your own at the beginning. You need some traction, you need a little bit of proof of concept. But then, to be honest, it's not hard to fundraise money in those days, because there's so much money in the market. You have seed capital funds, Series A funds, growth funds, you have private equity, you have business angels all over. So just inspire with a good idea the people, and then it's getting quite easy to pitch. I mean, obviously, what problem are you solving? What is the vision when you're getting profitable? What is disruptive about your business? But there are so many people being interested to invest money into new ideas. So I think the biggest thing is just do it, get some ideas on a paper and talk about it. And this is something I would really give as an advice to everybody. Like especially the Germans, they like to sit in the cellar and work on things and don't talk about it. So the Americans are very different. They have beers, barbecue, and they talk about all the ideas. And I would really say, talk about your ideas, because you get to know interesting people. Hey, I had the same idea, let's connect. Or, oh, that sounds good, maybe I can give you some money, so we do it together. I think just do it, talk about it. That's so important, and don't wait too long until doing it, because other people will have the same idea and they might be quicker. So
it's a very competitive market.
Yeah, it's a competitive market too, but there are still so many opportunities out there. And
Simon, now let's talk about your. I mean, you did a lot of fundraising. Now your company is about 160 employees. You intermediate about 760 million euros. So it's really impressive, and the idea is beautiful. So I have 2 questions that are related. One, it's what is the size of your total addressable market, like, or like your full potential? We all may have an idea, but we want to hear from you. And also that is kind of related, maybe for next steps. Are you planning to expand outside Germany? Which countries, or what are your plans?
Yeah, I mean, let's quickly talk about the addressable market. I mean, in general, real estate is the biggest asset class of the world. I think it is the most profitable asset class in the last 100 years. It's the most stable asset class. So the market is massive. We talk about trillions. Obviously, in Germany, we are looking at that mezzanine capital market. So that's a couple of billion euros in Germany, and we want to do 300-400 million out of that, only in Germany. But buying real estate, that's also a billion market. We have numbers that the total addressable market is something like 250 trillion euros. But obviously that's like all real estate, and you cannot buy all the real estate. But let's say the German market for mezzanine is about 10 billion euro. So that's our addressable market for Exporo financing. And buying asset in Germany, it's like 10x that market to buy offices, residential, commercial, hotels. It's huge. Let's just say it's an infinite market for us at the moment for our size. Second question, going abroad. To be honest, this is also about being in charge of a company. Last year, we had France ready, we had Netherlands ready, we had the platform there, we had the Dutch team, French team, we had the platform ready, we had the marketing ready. We actually had the asset managers, like huge European asset managers in that countries, buying assets for us and also managing the assets that we will sell digital to all those small clients. But then due to COVID, we stopped it, because being careful as a chairman of a company, having the long side or short-term, long-term vision, what can we really do? And as we did not know what is the impact of COVID on team, on the interest rate, on the real estate market, that's why we stopped that two markets and we paused them. So obviously Netherlands and France are still very interesting markets for us. And the moment we go out of Germany again, which can be, I would say, next year, first country will be Netherlands, then France, and then interesting markets like Spain, Portugal, Eastern Germany, and also the Nordics that would follow for us. Because it's still our vision. And let me just finish that one. We want to have like millions of Europeans investing digital like an owner into European real estate. That's all about.
Yeah, it's a truly European dream, like a single market, and we get access. It's really, really interesting. I mean, you were talking about at the beginning of this interview, like that when you started, like your first company had to talk and deal with like important people, like much more senior than you were by then, and you were kind of talking about that, but I'm thinking how you, I mean, how you do all those negotiations with big players, because now we are talking about big money. It's, I mean, keep it short, but any suggestions, ideas, or advice for our audience?
Yeah, I mean, just a funny story. In 2014, when I had my first stages, they were still laughing about us, those big players. Oh, it's funny, you invest 500 euro into real estate, our clients do 50,000 or a million. I mean, what do you want to do with those little money? And only a couple of years later, I think most of all the bank MDs and fund MDs have been to Exporo. Hey, how are you doing this? Digital, retail access, it's very interesting. So things are changing and people laugh at you or smile at you at the beginning, but then you have to be strong in your mind and keep on going. And today, I mean, there's no advice, but people are people and you have to treat them like them. You have to be honest, you have to approach them. And if you want something from them, tell it to them straight away. Hey, I have an idea. You have a lot of real estate. We have access to retail. I would like to connect the two of us. Let's partner up and talk about ideas. So you also have to understand, be shy. Don't be shy, but I mean, know where you are. Be proud of what you're doing, but don't tell them how life works. But just approach them with those ideas and talk about. And my experience is, if you talk about blockchain, digital, real estate, retail money, platform businesses, BI, KPIs, whatever, they are so open to talk about it because they are living in another world. They know real estate, how it was for the last 2 or 3 decades, and they're all interested about Proptech, FinTech, the new ways of doing it, digitalization, and they all have those topics on their agenda, so they're really open to talk about, and I would just approach them.
Very, very interesting. Thank you for also these thoughts. Now we know that you also have given back to society. You've co-founded a foundation. It's called AMES, and I mean, this is great. A part of what we want to do at the business school, at the educational sector, it's to make great people that we should want to feel proud of, the people that we educate. So this is a great example what you are doing. So can you tell us a little bit about that mission and how you contribute to that?
Yeah, oh, I love to. That takes us another half an hour.
But we're gonna keep it short. Yeah.
I'm kidding. You know, when I was younger, I always have been to Africa, and I loved that country. I love the wildlife, and I always said, okay, I can work with two hands, but I think I have more ideas on my head. So I always said, okay, be an entrepreneur, earn money, and then give back. And since some years, it's time to give back for me. So we have a child foundation in Africa, and now we also founded a wildlife foundation. It's all about creating habitat for the animals, save the endangered species, and not only rhino and elephant, it's also about lion, pangolins, little species that you have there. And it's quite easy. We support anti-poaching, so people that, you know, they poach elephants, rhinos for the horns. We create habitat, so we are buying reserves, we are renting out reserves there. And this is a German community so far, but everybody's invited. We have VCs there, private equity guys, founders, like really interesting and well-known people so far in our community that invest money, but also knowledge. So we try to think different. How can we add tech with drones and infrared to protect the rhinos, for example? We have a very interesting project on that. But also about educating people, bring people down to Africa, experience the wildlife, educate them in the bush to tell the story in Germany. And it's really amazing being with like-minded people, interesting people in the bush, learn about wildlife and just do good things at the end of the day. And that is even better than funding a company or raising capital, if you see how people want to give back and do good things.
Absolutely, and I'm happy that you say that to our audience. And by the way, just an idea, like you have a beautiful market in real estate, which is housing affordability sector. Like those the poor of the very poor of the poor, that they struggle to get access to housing, and there is always this funding gap that developers basically don't invest in those assets because it's not profitable for them. So this funding gap, or in terms of mezzanine debt that you could be make a parallelism, could be a nice idea. But let me get you giving us advice and suggestions for our students. As I mentioned, that we have we're going to share this in social media as well. We have 5,000 followers at the Institute of Real Estate within ESCP. Newsletter at about 10,000 people that we send a newsletter, all in real estate sector. So most of them, or at least a big part of them, are like young professionals. Simon, do you have any advice for them? Think about the typical bright student that have dreams, could be Proptech. What is your advice?
Always hard giving advice to a lot of people. I mean, first advice, and not everybody likes to hear that, but I've never seen someone creating a unicorn working 4 hours a day. So if you want to have impact and change things, it's still a hard work, and just face it and enjoy it. Second, oh, someone's calling here.
No problem.
Second advice would always be do things that you really enjoy. It doesn't matter if it's private or business. Don't do things that you do not enjoy. You have to have fun doing things. And yes, there are downsides, so you have to go through them. It's like in a partnership, just because it's going bad sometimes, you still have to keep on doing it. But you have to do things with joy, with passion, because this is, for me, the most critical success factor. If you do things that you really enjoy, you are happy and you're going to be successful. And a third advice, yes, talk about things, have ideas, but then execute them. Don't wait too long. Get people around you, challenge ideas with friends, with your professor, with other people that you know, and then try to get things running and create an MVP, the minimum viable product. So you do not need 5 million to do something. You can create MVPs, you can test things, and then you know if you're going in the right direction. And just don't wait too long and execute, because there are too many people that say, oh, I should have done, but no, okay, just do it. But let me stick to those 3 advices. There are many more, but 3 are enough.
Of course, and these are like great ones. Again, it was a real pleasure. Really interesting, lots of advice, lots of insights about your own experience and life. It was great. I want to thank you in the name of, on behalf of ESCP community, for your time, for your kindness, and I want to basically thank you, Simon Brunke, co-founder of and co-CEO as well of Exporo. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, Jaime, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. And if you want to do deep dives into blockchain, liquidity of real estates later, just send us an email. We're always happy to support young potential entrepreneurs.
We will, and thank you also for that. Thank you, Simon. Have a fantastic day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.